Good afternoon. We're here at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum under former Public Service Coordinated Transport, or Newark, New Jersey, Car 26. And what we're here to talk about is the completion list. The car returned from RMS, Rail Mechanical Services, in Columbia roughly 2 weeks ago. And we have 18 months of work left on the car. Work that's not included in the contract that we, the volunteers here at the Streetcar Museum, need to finish. Our goal for completion is late fall of 2024. That would coincide with an annual event we have here at the museum. That would also be 75 years since this car was constructed. So while we're under the car, let's talk a little bit about what work remains underfloor. And the list I'm sharing today and I'm reading is our completion list for the car, as we've mentally walked through everything necessary to bring this car to final completion and it become an operating car here at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. So, under the floor, one of the first things, and one of the dirtiest things, has been to clean the underbody. Now, Newark, New Jersey did take excellent care of these cars. The shops would periodically clean the underbody of the car, needle scale the rust out. That's why there is no rust through, other than one area, which we will repair, under this car. And the car bolsters, what supports the trucks, are in excellent shape structurally. Again, because they were heavily used, but very well cared for. But for long-term preservation, what we have done, primarily a team of young people here at the museum, Logan Tracy, his crew, Andrew Nawn, as well as some of us who are not as young, have gone under this car, scraped it clean, blown it clean, got all the loose rust off. We're using a metal treatment. It's basically a rusty metal primer that encapsulates anything loose and seals it, and then we'll finish up with an industrial-grade gloss gray. And that'll help keep the underbody preserved, attest any future rust, also make it a little bit easier to see under the car. Also, as we talk what's left under floor, when that work is done, we're going to remove each of the equipment cabinets. We're going to blow all of the equipment clean. Since the car was at a shop where it was sandblasted, there's grit and whatnot that'll have to be removed. We're also going to take each of the cabinets down, clean and paint the insides with Gliptol, red insulating enamel, just as a precaution, just to keep them in good shape. We do have to repair the supports that hold the pedal covers on up front. Nothing major. The hangers over time, similar to these, do seize, they rust, they break. We can get them. We need to do that. And then finally, one of the final steps underneath, not excluding the upcoming mechanical electrical work, is to repair or repaint, but really I think we're going to repair and replace the slats on the HB lifeguard for the car. So let's talk next about the main propulsion work necessary to complete this car. Prior to the car body restoration starting over a 4-year period, on and off, it was not consistently 4 years, the Baltimore Streetcar Museum converted this car to work with Westinghouse shaft brake actuators. It was built with General Electric brake actuators. That's a function of the trucks we got for it, since we are a broad gauge museum. I won't go into all of the details about what's entailed in that, but it's substantial changes to the control system, substantial wiring. Of course, please, you can contact the museum and contact me for anyone that would like the technical details. But long story short, we completed that and test ran the car successfully prior to starting the car body work. Now, that aside, the trucks that we've been using under the car for testing that we shipped the car out with really are shop trucks. The motors are very tired. The trucks themselves are very tired. They were not intended to be a permanent solution. We have a much better set of trucks with 4 motors that are in excellent condition that we've tested, we've cleaned. We have cleaned and repainted the trucks and all the rubber bumpers. We have new old stock for that, which we're also going to replace. But that comes with changing the trucks themselves. That also means we need to, again, change the wiring logic in the truck to work with the brake actuators. It's a little bit different, but it's not a matter of taking those trucks and putting them under here. There are some minor wiring changes we need to do. We also, when that's done, need to replace some of the wheel shunts. The shunts carry the current across the rubber sandwiches and the rubber parts of the wheels. When the wheels were converted to Baltimore gauge and the plate was added, not all the shunts were reinstalled, but we have those. We need to do that. As I mentioned, we're going to put new rubber bumpers on the trucks, so the rubber in the trucks is either in good condition or new. Pretty much other than touch-up paint, we've repainted the trucks and we'll finish touching them up back to the gray color. They were in public service with the red wheel centers. Other control work after that, we need to modify 2 pieces of the backup controller to work with these new brake actuators. We also then will need to reinstall the batteries, and we have a whole testing schedule and protocol for the car a sequence check, as it's called, braking tests, and then finally running tests. But we've done the conversion work. Now it's a matter of doing the truck work. And then finally, when all is tested out, making sure we document on a set of drawings every change we made so that in future years we don't have to have any guesswork about what's required. All right, so continuing on and working with the list we developed for completion of this car, let's talk about the exterior next. As reported in other videos Logan's put together, there's been tremendous work on the exterior, thousands of hours of bodywork, structural repairs, replacement of the passenger windows. But again, there is work not included in the contract, which we have to finish here ourselves. Some of that work is installing the new standee windows. Currently, they're covered over with paper, cardboard, simply for the painting process. But we have new glass, safety glass, which has been tinted the proper shade of green. We'll work with our partner at Chaudron Glass to install all of that, as well as new destination sign glass. Also talk about the exterior. We here at the museum will install new glass in the new doors that our master carpenter Jerry Settarelli made. We also then, part of the final checks of this car, will need to adjust the doors. We've got them installed. They move without power, but of course there's final adjustments needed when the power is applied back to the car. There's a lot of little details we need to add to the car. You can see we need to reinstall the marker lights. The tail lights themselves, we have the correct cat's eyes for it. All the frames, or the doors as they're called for the headlights, have all been cleaned and polished. There are wedges here for the tail lights so they sit out. We have those, we need to install those. Then we need to go up to the roof. We have the new roof matting. It's insulated roof matting. We need to glue that down. There's two areas we need to glue. Then we will reinstall the roof boards for the car, which have already been made up as a complete kit. We'll install both of the roof vents, the trolley pole, the trolley hook, the lightning arrestor, the trolley catcher, which will go here. We also need to make the corresponding hook, which sits under the car, so that the rope can be pulled down easily without having to climb through the back window of the car. The newer cars did have a pole for that purpose in service. They rotted away in this car, but we're making a brand new one. Wire the pole up itself, although we're going to then pull the ribbon fuse, or excuse me, the 600-volt fuse for safety, so that we can continue to work on the car, and any time power is applied, it's in a controlled environment. Working right at the front, we have two vents, which were completely rebuilt by our volunteer Mike Lawson and painted. We need to reinstall those. Reinstall the correct replica golden glow headlight, which will really be a nice touch for this car, as well as the headlight wings, which our painter is currently finishing up. And then finally, when we're all done, a complete exterior walk around and touch up. There's one area by the front doors we just need to add a little filler, rework a little bit as part of the final touch up. And then very last, Mark Dawson is going to install the decals on the car. We have a set made for it for the numerals, and thanks to our good friend Bill Wall, he donated a complete set of the logos and lettering for the exterior. And that'll pretty much wrap up the exterior at that point. All right, now we're in the interior. Yes, it's dark in here right now. Why? All the lights removed. They were cleaned. The frames were all polished. However, to do that work, the ceiling was taken down so it could properly be treated and painted. We do need to rewire the interior lights. It's not a major deal, but that needs to be completed. That'll enable us to turn the lights back on in here and not just use shop lights. We, at that time, will also rewire the destination sign lights in the front. Again, our very talented volunteer, Mike Lawson, took the front destination sign box home and piece by piece rebuilt it. It looks like new. He did the same with the side destination. It was so badly deteriorated, we had to take parts from two others to make one good unit for installation in the car. Some other interior decals. We already talked about the new standee windows. We talked about the exterior. All of the cranks will need to be reinstalled for the windows. Mike Lawson, again, took them home, polished each crank. All the windows, the lower windows have been reglazed with new safety glass, get rid of the Lexan. They all work. We do want to check them. We have one window that's sticking a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of rework to take care of that. That's not uncommon. Also, it's really hard to see in here, but part of the reason for doing the interior was structural repairs. Some of the lower structural members by my leg there were deteriorated. This is similar to what Minnesota Streetcar Museum found with former Newark number 3 when they did their job. It's a beautiful car, roughly 20 years ago. Enabling us to disassemble the interior, enabled our contractor to come in and actually repair any of these which were structurally compromised. It also enabled us at that point to install new heaters. They're the auxiliary heaters. The side areas of the car where the heaters are installed is basically a duct. Air moves across them, hot air with the auxiliary heaters. That's additional heating that's then for the passenger compartment. That said, we did not have a pit at the contractor's facility to wire the new heaters in. So that's one of the things we need to do here. The wire is installed, but we need to go down and tie it in underneath the car. As I mentioned, we have the windows. The seats are still being finished at the contractor's facility. All the repairs are done. They just need painted. But we don't want them yet, because once the heater work is done, we want to put the covers on, and then we're going to finish the floor installation. You can see we have all the ribbed rubber for the car. We also have the flat rubber, which went under the seats. It's all here. It just needs finish cut and glued down. And then pretty much it's finished the interior details. We have the plate for the operator's console or gang switch, the St. Louis Car Company plate. The Take One boxes, 2 of those we still need to paint and install. They're the original public service Take One boxes. We have the gold decals that go on the green in the front. Again, finished trim pieces and whatnot. It's just a reassembly at that point. The transfer cutter, which Bill Wald donated to us, which is correct for the car. Finally, finishing steps after we touch up the paint. We have a few areas we need to touch up, nothing major. We have period advertising cards representing northern New Jersey and New York, but primarily northern New Jersey, circa 1964, which will be really a nice treat for this car. We even have a proper timetable we're going to reproduce and put in the Take One boxes, and the proper era transfers for the transfer cutter. At that point, the interior is complete. That said, as we've done just a walkthrough of what's left to finish car 26, I do need to pause and again thank all of our donors. This has been a tremendous project. The scope of this project has grown considerably in a planned manner. Why? Thanks to the interest of our donors and supporters. We've received several large grants. We've received other smaller grants that enable us to do pieces, and a combination of large donations as well as even small donations building up over time, thanks to everyone who supported this project, has enabled this tremendous car to be restored. It'll be a genuine asset here at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum, in tandem with the grant we received for our new platform-based wheelchair lift. It'll enable us to give an accessible ride to any visitor here at the museum, and not just in any car, but our freshest restoration. Thank you very much.